Poverty. It changed the human spirit. How did they break free? Government can't solve these problems, but people can. Escape from Poverty wants to help. Guiding people like Amy, who makes pralines.
I have a dream of not only having a candy store in Lafayette, but in the surrounding areas and eventually go international.
Families like Carol and Kelly.
I think I would like to someday become a chorus teacher.
One of my dreams is to become a teacher, a basketball coach, and a football coach.
Recovering addicts like Greg.
It's just amazing about life. You know, life, you never know what the day gonna bring. You never know what the day gonna bring. And you know, that's some of my goals. Some of my goals, long-term goals, is to help others, be of service to others, and to own my own business.
Single moms like Tyra.
I would like to eventually own my own business. And what? I don't know. I know I'll be helping people in some sort of way, but I want to eventually work for myself.
Anybody can help somebody out of poverty.
You can too.
The people in these classes are also starring in a reality TV show. Join us as we follow their journey from poverty to success.
Our dream is to make their dreams come true.
Escape from poverty.
Escape from poverty.
Escape from poverty.
Escape from poverty is transforming my life.
Transforming my life.
Transforming my life.
It's transforming my life.
This class is available in its entirety along with printed curriculum through our website. Contact us at escapefrompoverty.org or at 337-984-4858. Welcome to Escape from Poverty. Tonight we're going to have a session on health and nutrition because we want you to feel good so that you can be successful in your jobs and be able to go to work. Tonight, teaching our class is a very special lady. Her name is Karen Bryce. Karen has a certification in personal fitness from the Cooper Institute for Aerobics Research in Dallas. She was a personal trainer for 5 years. She has a Master of Science degree in biology and a Bachelor of Science degree in psychology, both from the University of Texas in Arlington. She taught high school biology for 6 years. She also oversees the rewards program, which I'm going to talk to you guys about during the second hour. So you're going to want to be really nice to Karen so you can get more stuff. Karen has a passion for health and nutrition. So you guys are really blessed to be able to have her here tonight. So take it away, Karen Bryce.
Thank you, Linda. And so I thought I'd put it all together in a little folder for you so you could have this stuff here. And then as we go through other classes, I will bring you some more things and you can just stick it in the back. Okay? So the first thing I want you guys to look at is this chart right here, which may look like a bunch of craziness, and you're going, why am I looking at this chart, and what is this going to tell me, right? Well, we're going to go over this chart, okay? And all I want you to know out of this is we're looking at your food and beverage intake. Yours is nice and pretty in color, and this is my drawing. No laughing at my drawings, okay?
It's beautiful.
I'm also not the art teacher. But this is your food and beverage intake, and this is your physical activity, okay? These things are interrelated, right? And so we want to look at the different things that happen in your lives that influence why you make food choices and why you make physical activity choices in your life. And a lot of it has to do with how you grow up, right? If you grow up in a family that eats healthy, then you kind of have an idea of what are healthy foods, fruits, vegetables, things like that. If you grow up in a family where everything you do revolves around fried foods and rice and gravy and all that kind of stuff, then that's kind of what makes you feel good, right? I mean, those are the things that you eat. So when we look at the individual, and you guys have on the paper right here A lot of things in the individual, this is you personally, are what they call demographic factors, which just means things like your age, your gender, your socioeconomic status, in other words, how much money your family makes, and things like that. And so what happens is, as an individual, you're going to make food choices based on this. If you grow up in a family with a lot of money, don't you think you're probably going to eat different food than if you grow up in poverty? Right? You're going to eat different kinds of food. And the majority, not the majority, but a lot of the foods that you purchase that are cheap are not always the healthiest choices, right?
Right.
If you go to the store, just if you're talking about meats, and you go to the store, if you want to eat lean meats, what do you notice about lean meats?
It's expensive.
They're more expensive, right? Low fat, reduced fat, lean cut, center cut, you know, talking about pork, because you said you like to eat your pork. Well, if you go in and you buy pork steaks, they're really cheap. They taste really good too, because they got all that fat in them. And the fat is the flavor, but they're not so good for you all the time.
Right.
So if you go in and buy center cut, lean pork chops, they're like at least twice as much, right? So, you know, looking at these individual differences, obviously that has some things. What do you think could be some differences in like your age in terms of what kind of food choices or what kind of physical activity choices you make?
Well, physical activities, I can't run like I used to. You know, I can't go out there and play basketball against the youngsters. Yeah. So I'm limited to what I can do. I can walk. I can think I'm exercising when I'm working. You know.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
And you've noticed, I mean, you were talking about, you know, a little bit about weight loss earlier, and you know, as you get older, you think, well, I'm eating the same amount of food I ate when I was a teenager or in my early 20s, and I know you're still really young, and you're not that old either, but, you know, even as you get, you know, 20, you notice that your body changes and you're not as active. You don't realize you're active when you're young because you're always running around doing everything. You're playing basketball, you're running, whatever it is you do, you know, and so that has a big difference in, you know, your physical activity, like you said, and, you know, the kind of foods that you eat. Okay, so let's look at this one, environmental. So if you look on your sheet right here under environmental settings, this is things like it could be your job, it could be your home, it could be school, whatever you're doing. For example, I used to work in a hospital, and I know you work in a nursing home, right? And I used to work in a hospital, which is supposed to be a place where people are concerned about their health, right? We're helping people. And there was more food in that hospital all day, every day. We worked 12-hour shifts. People had a party for everything. They'd have a party if your grandmother's sister's brother's son had a baby. Let's have a party. I mean, they had a party for everything, and there was always food. So these are the kind of things we're talking about. Where do you go? When you go, do you go to church? Sometimes when you go to church functions, there's food everywhere.
Right.
Yes.
You know, sometimes when you go to family things, there's food, and you make food choices based on, you know, you're walking around, you're standing in the kitchen, you're eating food, and that's kind of what you do, right? All right, sectors of influence. This is more things along the lines of what kind of facilities are in the area that you live in. So, for example, the part of town you live in, do you guys have access to fresh foods? You know, to like a farmer's market or a grocery store that has, you know, produce. I mean, do you guys have that where you live? Okay. You know, in some places there may not be. Also, sometimes in certain areas of town, you will find that there's more liquor stores or there's more bars or there's, you know, there's things like that in the environment. Also, parks, places to walk. You know, walking is a good way. Like you said, you can walk now. You know, like you can't run like you used to, but you know, if you live in an area where you don't really feel safe, are you probably going to be going walking in your neighborhood?
No.
You know, so that plays a big role.
Right.
We can say, get out there and walk 30 minutes a day, or, you know, whatever we want to say. But if you don't feel safe to be in your neighborhood doing that, or there's no park for you to go to, then that's not really something that you can do. You know, and that's going to affect your health, right? Okay, and then the last one, the social and cultural norms and values. This is a big one. I think this is probably one of the biggest ones. And this has to do with when we talked about your families, right? this is like, what does food mean to you, to your family, to your, you know, a lot of things. And I have a personal example from this. Me and my husband moved here 3.5 years ago from Fort Worth. And we came down here and, you know, loved it. We hung out with people and they introduced us to all this Cajun food that we'd never had. I gained 20 pounds. Mm-hmm. In 2 years, I gained 20 pounds. And it was like, and this is what people said to me when I said, man, I said, I came to Louisiana and, you know, I gained 20 pounds and, you know, I appreciate Louisiana giving me this extra weight, but I'm ready to give it back. You know, and people would laugh and say, oh, that's what it means being down here. Girl, that means you're eating good. You know, and they would laugh about it and say, welcome to Louisiana. You know, and so it made me realize that's a big thing down here. You know, and that's a cultural norm. That it's a big thing for you to eat and enjoy the food. You know, and along with that comes into play like body image. You know, in your family and the people you hang out with, is it okay to be overweight? In some families it is. In some cultures it is, you know. And so that's something we also have to look at as well. So all of these things together, what I'm trying to say with all this that we just talked about, is this all has a lot to do with why you make the choices that you make. But ultimately, you are an individual. And you have to get some information and you have to be willing to take those steps to get where you need to be in order for you to be able to be healthier, because this is really about you being healthy. It's really about you feeling better about yourself, about you being able to get up every day and go to work, about you being able to take care of your children and the rest of your family instead of, you know, not feeling well and being sluggish, because all of these, the foods that you eat have a direct impact on how you feel. They really do. I don't know if anyone in here, I think I asked you once before, but if you've ever seen the movie Super Size Me.
Oh, yeah.
Have you ever seen that?
Yes.
Okay, with the guy that made the documentary about McDonald's. And what he did in the documentary was, I'll make it brief, but what he did is he ate McDonald's every day for 30 days. He ate it at every meal, which, granted, most people aren't going to eat McDonald's at every single meal. But he ate it at every single meal for 30 days, and I think it was about 3 weeks into the movie, into the filming and doing it, he had to stop. In just 3 weeks, his cholesterol went through the roof, his blood pressure went up, he gained I think it was 18 pounds, it just wreaked havoc on his body, made him really sick, and it is an extreme case, and he just did it to show people. But, you know, that kind of stuff, like you said, you went and had a hamburger, which is fine. Everybody goes and has a hamburger. But that kind of stuff's not meant to be your meal every day. It's not meant to be a way of eating, you know, alone by itself. It's, you know, every now and then, that kind of thing, in moderation. Okay. Anybody have any questions? Because I know you all have a lot to say.
Well, with me, 2 years ago, I had a stroke because I wasn't eating right. I was taking my medication like I was supposed to, but I still wasn't eating right. I thought since I was taking my medication, I could eat whatever I wanted to, you know. So I was eating a lot of chips, pork, you know, hard crackers, boudin and all that. But since then, I've been off of that. You know, I haven't been eating boudin and hard crackers. I try to stay away from sodas and you know, a lot of food that I was eating, because my cholesterol and my blood pressure shot up to the roof and I had a stroke.
Yeah. And that's what I think a lot of people don't realize, is that, you know, all these things really do, even if you don't see it, because there's people that, and I don't know if you were heavier than you are now, but there's a lot of people that are not heavy that still have high cholesterol and high blood pressure. It's not always that you're going to be really big. You know, these things go on. Your body's not meant to take in those kinds of things. And like you said, you know, and a lot of people think that, Greg. A lot of people think that if you take medication, you can still do all the other stuff you were doing before. Yeah, that it's a magic pill, and that's you know, that's not the case. And unfortunately, you found out the hard way, right? Yeah. Yeah. So you can be a testimony to the rest of us, right? And let us know, you know, that that's serious. You have to take your health seriously, because it's not always, it may not always be there, you know, and you are the only one that can make those decisions, you know, that is going to make your life healthier.
I can say something real quick?
Yes, of course you can.
One thing I noticed with me, like if I stay up at a certain time, that's too late, that's when I want to, you know, eat a little snack. Yeah. So I noticed, you know, so I guess whatever time you stay up, you probably want to, I learned to monitor what I need to eat. I haven't 100% got it in effect. but
you're working on it.
But I know, you know, like sometimes people know what to do, but it's just conditioning, training yourself. So that's the toughest part, you know, trying to motivate myself to know that I want to live longer, eat healthier. I like to play sports with my sons. That's like part of my workout. Might go to the gym, shoot some ball and whatnot, but I know I need to jog, which I haven't been doing. So
Did you used to
run?
run?
Yeah, when I was younger, like playing sports, high school, college, I would do that. So I was always working out all the time, you know. So I still got it in me. I understand, you know, as far as that goes, but I know staying up too far, too late, that'll make you want to eat a little bit here, a little bit there, start growling on you, you know. So. And
really, the best thing for all of that, like you were saying, is a routine. We can't always all do that. You know, I mean, it's life, you know, things happen. But it gets your body conditioned to, you get up and eat at this time, you don't skip breakfast, right? And, you know, and then you get your body used to this and you eat at this time and, you know, kind of in general. I mean, I know it can't be perfect. All right, I want you guys to look at, in the very back in the folder, I put, let me see, I may have misplaced mine, but you should each have yours. Here, I'll steal one out of here because they're not here. Okay, so each of you has this beautiful picture of your plate. And all this information, if you have internet access, you can look at this, these graphics and some of the stuff I got off of here. It's called choosemyplate.gov, and it's put out by the Department of Agriculture, the USDA. And what this is ideal, okay? This is what you would want your plate to look like when you eat. You would want half of it to be fruits and vegetables. You would want a little less than a fourth to be proteins, grains, and dairy, okay? Realistically, I'm not sure how often my plate actually looks like this, but I do my best, you know, especially dinner, to have, you know, protein, grains, and vegetables, and then, you know, maybe I eat fruit a lot during the day, just, you know, off and on, because I'm a big fruit eater, and milk, you know, things like that, or you could have yogurt, something like that. But this is just something I want you guys to keep. You can magnet it on too, because I think you got magnets in your little kit the first week. Okay, you can stick it on your refrigerator. There you go. And so when you can at least think about it. Okay, it doesn't have to be perfect, but you notice the protein. This would be what? What are our proteins? Meat is very small, not this big, right? And I think as a society, we feel like we have to have big, giant pieces of meat on our plate, right? Yeah, and we don't. We do not need that much protein. We really don't. We're not made that way. We're not carnivores. We don't need that much protein, okay? So this is for all of you guys that you can look at. How many of you think that you actually eat a plate that looks like that very often?
I don't like milk.
Do you like any other kind of dairy products?
Yogurt.
Yogurt, okay, there you go.
But I know I can't drink yogurt unless it's a smoothie.
You can eat it. You can eat yogurt. You don't have to drink it.
But I can have like tea, right? Instead of...
Yeah, this is just dairy. It doesn't really have to be a drink. It wouldn't have to be milk. It's just dairy in general. They just put it there because I don't like to drink milk with my dinner either.
Yeah. Okay.
I'll drink milk with breakfast, but I don't like to drink milk with dinner. So, I mean, it's just an idea.
Okay.
You could have, you know, just anything that's dairy.
So what about M&Ms, anything that's not?
I'm pretty sure M&Ms don't fall in that category. That would be over here.
So what we another side, okay. I mean, I can
you
do
can still
it.
have your M&Ms. I am not here to tell you,
M&M
Carol, that you
smoothie.
cannot have your M&Ms. Because I personally need a little chocolate on a regular basis. So I'm with you there, okay? All right. So if you guys will open to the page that looks like this, that says, "Let's eat for the health of it." And you'll notice the little picture of the plate again. All right? And this is just... we're just going to go over this briefly, and we're going to talk about a lot of these things individually later at the other classes, okay? But this is going to give you an idea of how to build this plate, how to build our beautiful little picture right here. Let me see if I can set it right there. I don't think it's going to stay. There we go. Okay, so this is going to show you. This is how to build a healthy plate. You want to do half fruits and vegetables, things like that. Vary your protein choices. Don't always have, you know, fatty pork, right, Greg?
Right.
I mean, you try some lean meats every now and then. I realize, like we said, the cost is different.
Turkey.
Chicken, yeah, you can buy chicken. You know, chicken's relatively inexpensive. And you don't have to eat, you know, skinless, boneless chicken breast, because that's the most expensive you can buy. I eat chicken thighs with the bone and the skin. I just take the skin off. Make sure you take the skin off.
Yeah.
Okay?
That's the best part.
I know. My husband argues with me. He's like, oh, come on, leave the skin on. I'm like, no. Okay, and you want to cut back on foods high in solid fats, added sugars, and salts. Now, you're going to know this information by reading a food label, which we are not going to go through today. How many of you guys actually look at food labels when you purchase things from the grocery store?
No. Sometimes.
Sometimes? Yeah, but not a lot?
Not a lot.
Not a lot. Okay.
Never.
What about Kelly? Do you know if she does or not? Does she do most of the grocery shopping?
About 90%.
Okay, yeah. So we'll have to ask her later. I'll have to find out. Okay, and we're going to talk about how to read a food label next time we meet and look over that, just so you kind of know. Not that I want you to sit down, you know, with your magnifying glass and study every food label on everything in the grocery store, because you'll be there for hours. All right, and then go to the next page where it says eat the right amount of calories for you. I know you guys don't realize, you don't know exactly how many calories you should have, and like I said, this is not a weight loss class. But again, if you have internet access, you can go on there and actually put in how tall you are, your weight, things like that, and they'll give you, you know, the general idea of how many calories that you should eat on a daily basis for health. So, you know, basically when you're eating somewhere, choose smaller portions. If you go to a restaurant, split something with somebody. I know guys don't do that very often. My husband doesn't do that. I do that with my girlfriends. We split food. But you know, things like that. Eat at home. Eating at home, you know exactly what's going in your food, right? Because if you're at a restaurant, there's no food label. You don't know what's going in there. And I don't know if you guys heard about the thing a couple of weeks ago at McDonald's about the pink slime. The whole thing went around.
I thought I heard something like that.
What?
Yeah, that went around that restaurants have been using in their meat. And, you know, some people say it's dangerous, some people say it's not. That's a whole different story. But you don't really know what's in your food, right?
Right.
If you're eating at a restaurant, you don't really know. So you may end up with pink slime. If you cook it at home, you know you're not putting pink slime in your food, right? I don't think so. It doesn't sound good, right? Okay, I know. It
Why would they
sound
use
good.
pink slime?
We'll talk about that off camera.
Oh, okay.
Okay, anyway, and then at the bottom, be physically active your own way. Like I said, you're not prepping for a marathon, okay? But do things like, what are some things you guys think you could do just, you know, a couple of times a week to increase your physical activity a little bit? What do you think you could do?
Probably can go jogging.
Go jogging?
Yeah, probably.
Is that realistic? Do you think you could really fit that in? Or
yeah. I got a park right down the street from my house. So I can jog. Okay. Or I mean, there's an area right pretty much in front of my yard. I can jog in a circle. I got some weights at the house. I got some equipment. But
you just got to get the motivation,
yeah,
right?
I just kind of look at it every now and then instead of use it. So like I got the bench press deal.
It's not a clothes rack, is it?
Yeah.
Has it become a clothes rack yet?
Yeah. No, not yet. Almost.
Clothes rack.
Almost.
What about you? What little things could you do?
Well, I actually work out already.
Do you? Okay,
yeah.
Well, good for you. Yay.
So maybe I can add an extra day.
Okay.
Or something. Sometimes I eat
So you're already
bad.
working towards making yourself healthier.
Yes, but I kind of like cheat. Sometimes I'll eat like a bunch of cookies and then I'll say, oh, I'm working off at the gym. So
yeah. You know that the studies actually say that it's better to be a few pounds heavier, to be a little bit overweight and be active, than to be thin and be sedentary. So, see, there you go. That's my excuse anyway. That's what I'm using. What about you, Greg? What could you do?
I walk.
Do you walk?
I walk at least 3 days a week, and I do weights.
Oh, that's awesome.
Mm-hmm. Not big weights, but I do
weights.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Well, man, it looks like you guys are already on your way to getting healthier. But we can always do better, right? I am also going to do things to help myself improve and to get more physically active. I too work out, but not as much as I should. So it varies from week to week depending on what I have going on. All right, so.
This class is available in its entirety along with printed curriculum through our website. Contact us at escapefrompoverty.org or at 337-984-4858.